Hey guys, Lizardlea here for day 62 of 4 Heavenly Beasts. There is the progress from day 61. I'm thinking I'm just going to finish the Krennic part, which is actually quite a bit, because I'm sure plenty of you have already noticed my eye. It's not MS or anything, it's because last night I was babysitting my nibblings, and there are 2 cats in that house, and I'm allergic. And the night before, I was with David at his dad's, and there's a dog in that house, and I'm even more allergic to dogs. And, you know, it compounds. Allergies suck. I hope no one is allergic to anything. It's not fun. Did I take a video of when I took amoxicillin because of my dental surgery? I don't remember if I did or not. I was spotted, you guys. I was a leopard. And the people at urgent care reacted to me like I was a leper. Which I was okay with. Like, stay away from me. I don't want to people anymore. Okay. I'm gonna go try and cross stitch now.
All right, Devoted, what are we talking about?
13 going on 30.
Okay.
She's 13 and she goes to 30. Because of magic glitter.
Yeah.
And it was a lot better than Clueless. Liz doesn't like that I tell hard truths.
No, between the two, I like Clueless more, but I love both of them.
Oh yeah, I like this way better than Clueless. Like, I don't hate Clueless. Clueless is just forgettable.
Like you do.
No, it's just fun to give it crap because everyone has told me how good Clueless is, and I am unimpressed. It's not bad, but the main thing is, like, I can't remember much about Clueless because I feel like most of the scenes they're supposed to be like, oh my god, look at their chemistry. I'm not getting their chemistry, but we've been over this. So 13 going on 30, they actually have chemistry, and it's funny, and it was actually clever because it does some things that I didn't expect it to do, and does it in a very clever way.
David is calling Jane Austen not very clever, so take that as you will.
Why?
Because Clueless is based off of Jane Austen's Emma.
Yeah, and Emma's probably better.
Probably.
Because it probably has real chemistry.
They have chemistry. What
Yeah,
is
they
wrong
don't.
with you? You are ridiculous. Oh my god. David apparently wouldn't know what chemistry is if it hit him over the head.
I probably would. I'd have
It would have to
acid
be in a
burns.
vial, though. Yeah, we both went to the same thing.
So, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Plot of 13 going on 30. Girl is young and, gee, maybe 13. And so she's sort of a bratty, not a bratty teenager, but just a, you know, you don't have an identity, and so you think you want what you
You want to be part of the popular group.
Right, and the whole, like, oh, I've been marketed to my whole life, and I expect to be this, and so she, you know, the popular group dishes her on her birthday, while the guy who really likes her has made her a really cute gift and whatnot, and she goes and instead cries in the closet and accidentally triggers magic fairy dust, which transports her to being 30 years old, and, you know, she's got her life together, she's got a guy who is naked, which is shocking to her. And for the record, given some of the questionable stuff we've seen lately, we're like, ooh, that's aged a little bit poorly. 13 going on 30 handles most of this well, as opposed to, like, teacher movie.
Never Been Kissed.
Never Been Kissed, where you're like, ooh, this is a little uncomfortable. But yeah, and it just, like, you know, she's got her life together, or rather, she's got a life. She's powerful, she's important, she's impressive, she's running this Vogue-like magazine.
She's not running it, but she's part of it.
Isn't she like she's a major editor, or...
Yeah, no.
Article.
Andy Serkis is her boss.
Right,
he
right,
is
right,
the
right,
major runner.
Right. And her best friend is now...
Estranged from her.
Well, no, I was going to say her adult best friend is the girl, the popular girl.
Yes.
And she's actually a really well done character,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
they're like, I thought I knew immediately what tropes they were going to do with that, and they don't. And that's one of the things I like the most about the movie is she's actually a very interesting character, and they don't do what you expect them to do with that, and it works really, really well because they set it up right and earn it. And yeah, her best friend is like, yeah, you who is played by Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk. He's like, yeah, you came out of the closet and you smashed the dollhouse on my head, and we
I
haven't
still have
spoken
a scar.
since. Yeah, and you gave me a scar, so please stop talking to me. Goodbye.
And she's like, no, but Maddie, you don't understand. Yesterday I was 13 and it was my birthday.
Yeah. So, it's fun. It was just fun. Like, I can't think of, like, any specific scene other than, like, the twist where I'm like, oh, that's really good.
You don't remember them dancing to Thriller?
Not until you just said that.
What? Okay, but now you remember it.
Yeah, but it's the dance to Thriller. Everyone does the dance to Thriller. I saw a bunch of doctors do the dance to Thriller at a wedding.
You know what? I'll give it to you. That was acceptable. He didn't get out of his chair, but he did the arm movements. And his eyes looked a little crazy. I'll accept it.
I did the Thriller dance at a wedding.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was years ago, so...
Yeah. Everyone's done Thriller. I don't know why that would be the big scene. Oh my god, they're doing Thriller. Of course they're doing Thriller.
I loved it. I thought it was fun.
I mean, it's weird because that scene, it's, oh my god, she's so brave doing this dance. And it's kind of like...
Well, no, it was getting people to dance at the party that was dying.
I guess that's the point, yes. But
yes!
Like, Thriller is like the dance. Like, I don't know. Cha-Cha Slide, Cuban Shuffle,
Macarena.
Thriller, Macarena. Yeah.
No, Thriller's not on that list for me. Especially now. Like, there are kids who don't even know that song.
Maybe especially now, but when 13 Going on 30 was made, abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
So, like, whatever.
Man, like, there are so many music videos for Michael Jackson that you haven't seen, and you bowed out so quickly because it's like a 10-minute video, but only 3 minutes of it is the song.
Yes, I am aware that they used to just make them like
yeah, and if you can't handle that, there's no way the current generation can. They're gonna be like, oh, it's so boring. One moment.
Please.
All right, David got a phone call, and now we're back, and I don't remember where we were. We were talking about 13
rambling
going
about
on 30.
13 Going on 30 and Thriller, and I mean, short version, the movie is good. It is a fun movie. I don't have any like problems with it. I can't think of anything where it's like, oh, that's stupid or this is a waste of time.
I mean, I will say, you kept saying like, oh, it's gonna be this,
yes,
it's gonna be this, and you were a whiny baby about it, and I was just like, hold your horses. And then when you realized you were wrong, you were like, oh wow, and I was like, yeah, they set that up perfectly, and you did not catch it.
Yes.
And I was really proud.
I underestimated.
And they did a great job.
They did. So yeah, I would recommend it personally. It's a fun rom-com. It is better than many other rom-coms.
Honestly, that was one of my favorite roles for Andy Serkis. Like, I know he's not doing a crazy CGI thing, you know, like Gollum and all that, but he was hilarious.
Oh yeah, he was great.
I loved him. Like, every scene he was in was made better because he was there. He's so funny.
Yarp. So from there, shall we go to next movie?
We shall go to next movie. What is the next movie?
Insomnia.
You did not say that in an accent. I do not accept this. Try again.
No.
You started it. It's normally me.
I know.
What is this?
It is me.
Okay, so Insomnia. That's the one with Robin Williams?
Robin Williams and Al Pacino. I was going to say Robert De Niro.
Wow, that's the one in Alaska, right?
Yup, Alaska.
We haven't talked about that one yet?
Yep.
I feel like
it's a Christopher Nolan film.
Wow. Wow.
And starring Owen Wilson as...
Wow. Okay, we need to stop. My impression is really bad and it's just getting worse.
Hello!
I can't do Mr. Doubtfire. I am not Robin Williams. He's a better woman than I ever could be. Okay.
So this is not one of his comedy roles.
It's very serious.
It's one of Christopher Nolan's first films, if not his first film. I don't remember, but it's
It's a detective in Alaska, right?
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, it is the least Nolan, or it's the least twisty movie Christopher Nolan has ever written. So if you kind of like Christopher Nolan and you find most of his stuff to be trying too hard or whatever, I highly recommend this. And if you like Christopher Nolan anyways, I highly recommend this because it's still very good. The plot is that Pacino and his detective partner are up in Alaska during the summer when
The sun is out 24/7.
Yeah, they get like literally no darkness. So when he first gets there, they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go pick up this kid," because basically a woman has gone missing, or no, sorry, been found murdered, a girl, and he looks at it and basically determines, yeah, this is some type of like serial killer, and he's like the serial killer detective. He catches, or maybe not serial killer, but like it wasn't just a crime of passion thing, you know.
Yeah, it was planned, premeditated. Or
yeah,
whatever.
well, he kind of explained, but it doesn't matter. We're getting lost in details. So he and his detective buddy determine, yeah, we need to go start talking to people. Let's go pick up her boyfriend from school. We can go right now and rattle him because, you know, it's bright out. And they go, it's 11 o'clock at night.
Well, no, I thought it was, they said it's 11, and he's like, yeah, so they're at lunch break.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
at night.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he was
no.
like, what?
Yeah.
It was so funny. It was
Yeah.
good.
And it's a hard movie to discuss because it's one of those ones where, like, to discuss it in any detail is to spoil it, and I don't want to spoil this one because it's worth seeing. And it was also something I like Nolan, and I did not know he did this movie. And years ago, when I found out about, I watched The Prestige, and that's what like made me go like, oh wow, this guy is good. And then I looked up the rest of his movies, and I somehow missed this one because I know I watched Memento shortly afterwards, and I thought that was his first one, but then this showed up. But anyways, point is,
I need to rewatch Memento.
you do. We will get to that.
Because I loved Insomnia.
Mm-hmm.
Did he do Inception?
Yep.
I loved Inception. I loved The Prestige.
Yep.
I need to give it a shot.
You tolerated Tenet.
No, I liked Tenet.
Yeah.
You tolerated it. I liked it more than you did.
Yeah. No, I didn't. Actually, I did like it more,
Yeah,
but I did like
did.
it. Most people don't like
my
Tenet.
biggest complaint was that there was so much I couldn't hear and they didn't subtitle, but that's obviously what Nolan wanted.
Yeah, in some parts.
Did he do the Dark Knight movies?
I think so.
I didn't like that. I only saw the first and second one and I wasn't a fan, but I will not hold superheroes against him.
Yeah. So either way, Insomnia.
It's really good.
Yeah,
I thought every actor did perfect in their role. Like I loved everybody. I don't remember having any complaints about someone doing a bad job.
Yeah, Robin Williams really nails the performance. It is one of his better serious roles. I know he's played the creepy guy in a couple of movies that I haven't seen. I've never seen 24-Hour Photo either, and he's exactly what he needs to be. And as nuanced and as not nuanced as it needs to be.
He was a spectacular actor. Like his comedic timing was perfect. His dramatic timing was perfect. Like we lost him way too early, and I'm really sad about it.
Yeah.
We could have gotten so many more great movies.
Well, to be fair, he was having heart issues, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was
My understanding was the meds made his depression worse, and that's what led to everything.
Yeah.
So
it was not.
It's not fair.
I
mean, I don't think it's fair for anybody to fall for.
Yeah.
You know, all of that, but yeah. I think it's definitely a movie worth seeing. What would you call it? Thriller, suspense?
Yeah, that's a good one.
You keep talking. It's 8 o'clock. Well, I need to take my meds. Do you also need to take meds?
I should probably take my meds.
Okay, we'll be right back.
After we've taken our meds.
Okay, we're back and
She took all my meds.
I took mine.
Did I take any? No, because you took all of them.
They're at your dad's. That's not my fault.
It could be.
No, it's not.
Anyways,
It's
watch
not my
Insomnia.
dad. Your dad.
It's a good movie. It's a hard movie to discuss because discussing it spoils it. So just watch it.
Yeah, if you like thriller, suspense, it's 100% worth it. Really
It's
good.
probably not going to blow your mind. It's like that's the thing.
Oh,
is that
yeah.
Many of his movies are very ambitious and have like, wow, I've never seen that before stuff. It's just a solid movie. It's just good.
It's not crazy or wacky. It's good.
Finally, to round out our video, we have watched Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind,
Which is
the
Studio Ghibli
first
film.
Studio Ghibli film.
And David hadn't seen it until like less than a month ago.
Yeah, but David also knew it was the first Studio Ghibli film while everyone else was telling him he was wrong, because David knows
I thought it was
stuff.
like the third or the fourth. I didn't realize it was the first. Whatever. I've still seen it long before you ever did.
So there's this lady who's basically living Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I think they stole from it.
I know you're saying Breath of the Wild stole from Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, because otherwise I will throw this phone at your head, and it's basically a brick. You're not going to be happy.
Remember when phones were tiny?
Vaguely.
And threats of violence were less severe?
I remember when they flipped.
Because you wouldn't wind up getting the death penalty. Just an assault charge. Anyways, yeah, Nausicaa is a very good movie. If you've played the modern Zelda games, or anything with that sort of fallen technology and nature vibe, clearly this inspired it. And now I guess it's based on a book, and this is a movie version of that book. I've never read the book. I have no idea how faithfully it tracks to the book or whatever, but it is a beautiful movie and a unique vibe and tone. And it's a very straightforward, like if you've watched anything Ghibli, or at least any of the slightly more adult Ghibli stuff, like Princess Mononoke, it's the same very well handled story of the encroaching of like civilization with nature, with technology, which is a story we always see. But what I've always respected about Ghibli films is they handle it in a very mature way and point out that, like, you know, like in Mononoke, there's this industrial town that's burning down the forest. Like, okay, this is Fern Gully. They're the bad guys, right? Well, it's also the only place that these lepers can work because they're very progressive, and they're like, yeah, we've found a way to, like, you know, make guns and ammo, and that's what the world needs. And it's all these women who used to work in brothels and lepers and, you know, marginalized people who are, you know, and they found a life here. Like, it doesn't just do massive black and white strokes. And what's especially good about Nausicaa is if you want strong female protagonists.
Oh, Nausicaa is it.
Yeah, and you know, years before that was a like, well, we're just doing it because some marketing brand thing wants me to. Like, it's very well done. All the characters in it are very interesting. No one feels like they're pandering. No one feels like they're two-dimensional. You understand their motivations. You understand why they're the way they are. And, you know, like, there's a whole culture clash thing is also a big part of it. Again, it's kind of the Mononoke prototype, because I'd say they're almost the exact same story with a slight...
I feel like Mononoke is a lot more magical. Like, I feel like
this one's got super...
worms.
Well, not just worms, but the weird...
Oh, her flying contraption?
No, I meant the man, the super weapon, whatever it's called. I can't remember. It basically looks like a deformed human that comes up and shoots a uber laser.
Okay.
The fallen technology stuff, which is basically magic, because anything...
I mean, I thought it was supposed to be literally technology.
It is, but there's a quote that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Yeah, so, you know, like...
It felt more mystical and more unknown.
Well, I think the big thing,
but I haven't seen Mononoke in years,
is
so
both of them have a person who comes from a village that's very in tune with nature, who's been kind of due to things beyond their control, been kicked out of their niche and has to get involved in a bigger struggle. But there are differences, is the short answer. We don't need to get into the nitty gritty of it. But yeah, the Ulm, are they? Yeah, the Ulm are just incredibly clever and well done, and it's crazy how unique it still feels, because I just don't think enough things have noticed how great this is and ripped it off more. Like, because they don't have the guts to actually do what this did right. It's one of those things that you'd think would be like... Obviously, things have copied the vibe before. Hyper Light Drifter certainly seems to be another one where I'm thinking of that. God, there's got to be 30 or 40.
There were a ton of things where you were like, oh, this reminds me
of
this. Nausicaa reminds me of this. Like, constantly throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, this was the inspiration for this. Or I can't think of everything off the top of my head.
There were a couple that I started Googling, and I was like, yep, Nausicaa's in there.
Yep. And Chrono Trigger, maybe? Was that one of them? I don't know. It doesn't matter. So either way, it's just so well done, and the thing is that it's one of those things that I would immediately be like, well, if I wanted to make money, I would rip this off and modernize it and just, you know, do the same story. And yet I know that probably someone started with that intention, but then tried to make it too actiony or too cool or too good and evil or too, like, the thing that makes this good is all the really intricate or really clever decisions it made, and the fact that it handles them in an elegant and in a way that doesn't feel like it's talking down to you. There's a lot of things that have a good message, but they just beat you over the head with it. Like, hey, did you know you probably shouldn't... I had a good example there, but I'm like, well, that's a little crude for this YouTube video. So whatever.
You shouldn't litter.
You shouldn't rob people. Like, yeah, I shouldn't rob people. No, robbing is terrible. Yeah, I know. You're awful if you rob. I got it. It's
not like pandering, and it's not talking down to you. Like it felt very mature.
Yeah, and it's a real story trying to tell a story, not push an agenda. These are the characters. This is how they act. This is what happened. These are the morals you can learn from it, but they're very much real people. And the world is fascinating.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's not just beautiful, but like the ecology up there with Dune, actually. And this is very interesting in how they've used the world to set the stage for the story, and seeing how people... Oh, Caves of Cud, that was another one. How they've managed to just adapt and survive, and how the different cultures handle this, and how people are people still, and just it's really good. This guy's got a good thing. She flies a thing, blows in a whistle, makes the bugs happy.
Yeah, I loved the whistle when she would start flinging it in a circle and then throw it up into the air, and they'd fly after it.
Yeah.
And then she would go after it and grab it and start flinging it again, just to lead them away from the people.
Yeah.
Because, she would always try to go for the non-violent option whenever possible, because she did care about the other creatures and the people.
It's funny, because thinking about it, there's Dune, Nausicaa, and Ender's Game are 3 stories that I can think of that are all sci-fi that very well use
Bugs?
the life
Giant
cycle,
bugs?
not just bugs, but the life cycle of the environment is critical to the story. In ways that the characters often don't realize. In fact, none of them realize right away. It's, in fact, the big reveal is, the life cycle that's going on here is actually vastly more important than we thought. Which is a really good message, and a message I support. I just think that a lot of movies are vastly, stupidly heavy-handed with it. Like, oh my god, you're killing the life tree! Like, yeah.
Wow, I didn't
Okay.
see that one coming.
Cool. You're destroying the world because you're killing the life tree. No, we'll be fine without the life tree. No, you won't. Like...
Is that from a video game?
No, I mean,
I
I haven't watched Avatar, but that's the vibe I get from it. It probably handles it better than that.
No, it's Pocahontas. Avatar is Pocahontas.
It's also Ferngully.
It's Pocahontas.
It's also Ferngully. And it's The Last Samurai.
No, so I was gonna say I loved the design of the Olm. They're these gigantic bugs. I don't even know what to call them. I was gonna say worm, but worms don't have eyes.
No, they're more
and
like
this thing has like
insectoids.
12 eyes.
And what I like is they're not cute.
No, not at all.
Like,
Absolutely not.
There's not a lot of modern, heck, throughout any age, people like to pretend this is a new thing. There's not a lot of directors / production companies / whatever who would have the guts to make the characters look like that, but it's vital to the story, as opposed to making them, marketable. Get your baby
make them
Olm
cute
now.
or make them humanoid
here's
or
your
make
plush.
them relatable. No, it's just a big slug thing with a
More
shell,
of a
kind of. It's just like a big hump, basically, with a shell on it and then a ton of eyes and a ton of
But
legs.
I mean, a slug is slimy and whatnot. These things are like chitinous.
Well, that's why I said it has a shell on it.
It's a shell. That's called a snail.
It's not quite, because like it's not living in a shell. The shell's part of it.
Yeah, it has an exoskeleton. It is not a creature with a shell.
Yeah.
Which means it's not a slug or a snail.
Okay, well, I'm trying to give them a description.
It's a rodent.
Oh my god. Whatever. We talked about that in the previous episode, okay? Anyways, so it has all these eyes. And when they're angry, all of their eyes burn bright red. And when there's like a pack of them, it's freaking terrifying. Like, I can't imagine if I lived in that world and I saw all of those red eyes. I feel like I would faint. Like, I don't think I could handle that. That would be terrifying. But when Nausicaa was able to help and calm them down, and their eyes turned blue, and they, they weren't acting aggressively. They clearly calmed down. I thought they were cute. And I don't think bugs that look like that are cute, but they handled it in such a way and made Nausicaa care about them so much. And I cared about Nausicaa at this point that I started to care about them. And it was just like, it was amazing. And like, I know there was a message, but I never felt like that was the point of the movie necessarily. Like, they wanted to tell a story more than they wanted to share this message. And the message just happened to go along with it, and it was perfect. I liked the dub. Sir Patrick Stewart voices one of the characters in it.
Yep.
Shia LaBeouf voices one of the characters in it.
This was like a whole bunch of like, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so, this inspired this inspired... It was a little bit funny, because like, Liz loves this movie, and in my like immediate watch, it's like, oh, this is this, 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 so...
It was a gorgeous movie, wasn't it? It was
watched
amazing.
It better, yeah, no.
You watched it better?
Yeah.
I watched it years ago. I've watched it more. I've watched it better. But, oh no, my favorite character, can't remember his name, her little squirrel buddy, the little squirrel fox buddy. I loved that thing so much. Like, the first time she meets it, it bites her, of course, so she bleeds a little, and then she's like, it's okay, I'm not gonna hurt you. So, of course, then he calms down, and he becomes her best friend, and he's always with her, and I love him so much. He's so cute. You're typing.
I know. I'm just like, he is cute.
You're ignoring me again.
Yeah,
I see.
No, I like...
Another callback to the previous episode.
Cuteness is a thing that you can convey through actions. Like, nonverbal storytelling is really, really important. And the best in the business currently are probably Pixar. One of the most surprising good examples of this was the new Doom game, the 2016 Doom. I didn't play the one after that, but I don't think it did as well in that regard, is what I heard. But, conveying characters through actions and their feelings and their behaviors and their beliefs through just body language. Or, in the case of the bug, just...
the eyes and the gestures. Well, I don't even know if gestures is right, but, like, you could just see that it kind of lowered to the ground a little bit. Like it wasn't feeling aggressive anymore.
Again, it's sort of
spectacular.
And it's a very subtle version of like a cat's hair going down after being on edge.
Yeah.
And it's a very tricky thing to... Okay, it's not a very tricky thing to do, but it is something that takes talent to do, right?
And Studio Ghibli has that.
In spades. And it's just a shame that more people don't even attempt it, and instead, the characters speak or tell you, or, they have giant eyes or what, like...
I mean, those things had giant eyes. But it was literally just a color. It didn't have pupils or anything. It was just either blue or
red. There's no eyelids, there's no eyebrows.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, you get blue or red.
You just had to see from its actions.
And the red, I feel like, is just because it looks so good, and I'm sure maybe it's probably from the original story too, but with how the animation was done, you don't need the red eyes to know what's going on.
Yeah, because you can see it in the way that it moves and the way it's reacting, that it's angry or not. But, if this is ultimately something for kids, you have to really telegraph that, because they may not understand the body language quite yet. But still, I mean, the red eyes freaked me out. I thought they were on point. They did what they were meant to do. Especially because, when you see a huge group of them on the horizon, and their eyes all change, ooh, that was terrifying. Spectacular. I looked it up. The fox squirrel, his name was Teto. He was so cute.
Yeah, you love Teto.
I loved him. He was so cute. Look at those ears. Look at that tail. Oh, he's got stripes. He's the cutest thing. I want one. I want a fox squirrel.
A squirrel.
He's just so cute. I can't handle him.
Marketable. Bam. Remake this.
Honestly, that's one of my favorite things about Studio Ghibli is the visuals. I always tell people, do not watch Earthsea with the intention of getting a good story out of it. Watch it for the visuals. That is one of the most beautifully shot, I don't know if shot's the correct word, drawn movies ever. Because it's Studio Ghibli. That is what they do. They make beautiful shows. Howl's Moving Castle is still the one. When we watched it together, I was gushing over the visuals every 5 minutes. I would not shut up. And you hadn't seen it before, and I feel really guilty about it. But if we watched it again, I guarantee you I would do it again. because that's what I do. I'm like, oh my god, look at that, it's beautiful.
It's fine.
I do it though. You can't lie.
I appreciate your passion. It's fun. That's why it's fun watching things with you, because you're passionate about them. You have emotions and thoughts and things, and you're not afraid to show them, rather than just, be a damaged individual who sits here and goes, nope, I'm going to stare at this screen and enjoy Chinatown. She hasn't seen Chinatown.
Remember when I was gonna break up with you if they didn't kill Minnie?
Yeah.
Very emotional person, you guys.
Okay, to be fair, most people would be in that scenario.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah.
This is nowhere near Main and Abyss, by the way. Like, I would recommend Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind to anyone.
Yeah.
Including children. Like, I watched it as a kid. Yes, when the bug's eyes turned red, it scared the crap out of me. But when the Indians went to war, and the colonials went to war in Pocahontas, it scared the crap out of me. I'm not traumatized. Or if I am, too bad. It was worth it. So yeah, I mean, there are very few Studio Ghibli films that I would not recommend to people. Like Grave of the Fireflies, I won't watch it. I can't recommend it to anyone else knowing what is in that movie.
Yeah.
It's too heartbreaking.
I can recommend it as like a piece of art, but like
I couldn't.
Well,
like, and I think a big part of it is just that I love my siblings. Watching a brother, like, sorry, spoiler alert, watching a brother try to keep his little sister alive and fail in the end is just, I don't think I could. Like, I'm getting tears in my eyes just thinking about it. Like, I can't. I cannot watch that movie. I read a synopsis and that was all that I needed to break my heart. So I'm good. And then Earthsea it tries, I guess it tries with the story. But visually it's beautiful. Otherwise, I'd recommend every single one that I've seen.
Yeah.
Studio Ghibli is just
on
point for me.
Grave of the Fireflies is hey, if you want to put yourself through that, it's gorgeous.
Oh,
or rather, it's
Ponyo.
Incredibly well done, but yeah.
I don't want to see Ponyo.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that art style. That's the main reason I don't want to.
Well,
and it's directed at kids. Like, literally kids.
Well, yeah, what I've heard there is like, okay, you might think like, oh, well, Disney or Pixar, those are kids' movies. Like, no. Like it's just pretty colors and stuff. Like literal 2 to 3 year old age range.
Yeah, like
not
it's for kids.
Much more than that.
Yeah. I remember one of my high school friends in Japan really loved it, and like she drew in that art style before Ponyo came out. So I was like, I think she was drawn to it more so for the art style than the story, because yeah, I don't know. But otherwise, yeah, Studio Ghibli all the way. Also, Little Nemo. Definitely watch Little Nemo. All the people in Studio Ghibli are there.
Yeah, that counts as a Ghibli film in my eyes.
Yes.
It's the only one I would have accepted as before this film.
Alright, well, we're at the end.
And that is the end of For Heavenly Beasts Day 62. I got 4 hours and 27 minutes of footage. I was going to continue, then David called and was like, hey, you want to go to Costco? So I was like, okay. And then we're expecting people to go over to his dad's, so we're going to go hang out. But I got a lot of the Krennic done. There's still more on this page, and I didn't even finish the piece that I was on. So I will continue that the next time I work on it. Yeah. I finished, what is the book called? Aeronauts Windlass. The Aeronauts Windlass by Jim Butcher. Of the 3 series, first books I've read by him, that one's the weakest. Of just the first book, I think, I want to say the Dresden Files, but I think it has to be, I always called it by the wrong name before I added an S where there was no S. Why can't I remember what it's called? Seriously. I had just finished it. Kitai and Tommy are in the book. Codex Alera! I got it! Okay. Got there eventually. But overall, my favorite series is still the Dresden Files, then Codex Alera, and I will read any sequels to Aeronauts Windlass, but yeah, it's my least favorite. Like, it's a bunch of ships. Okay, there is more than just that, but I like ninjas more than pirates. I think that's kind of what it boils down to. Okay, I'm going way off topic. I apologize. I might cross stitch tomorrow, so there might be more very soon. Otherwise, it will be next week. Also, my eye's feeling much better. I popped a Benadryl, and it's cleared up. Still a little sore, but it looks a lot better, and it does overall feel better. That's what matters, right? Yeah. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that jazz. I'll see you guys next video.